Lights out and let's go racing, folks, and it's a very even start from the entire field.
There's a freight train forming behind him right now. He will be as nervous as a cat in a room full of rocking chairs. I can give you the hot tip. Sideways as a bishop on a chessboard. That was incredible car control.
Oh no, and he's sent it! And he's gone down the inside, and that's a brilliant move.
Going for a bit of an ambitious dive now, and oh, there's contact! Here they come now, around the final turn on the final lap, they're side by side!
Oh, there's contact now. Someone is going to be hitting the showers early tonight, I'll tell you what.
Crosses the line for P1, brilliant racing, absolutely sensational stuff.
This is heart pounding, this is nerves rising, this is sensational TV.
The biggest challenge awaits for these drivers as we head into our first proper street circuit of the season for the Misfits Sim Racing series here for Gen 3 Supercars, brought to you by Max Services. And what a place we're here at, and it is going to be action, but the action close to the walls, but even closer here at the fantastic Reed Park circuit as we take a look here at where we are for this round of the series. It's going to be absolutely fantastic here as we go to the Reed Park Street Circuit here in Townsville. And as you can take there, 13 turns, 10 to the right and only 3 to the left. So it's going to be a very, very loaded side of the car. 2.86 kilometers is this street circuit, and the run down Boundary Straight sets up the lap around this 2.8 kilometer circuit as they head flat out through turn number 1 and keep the foot to the floor as this opens the overtaking opportunity into turn 2, a short run between 2 and 3 where the right-hander has the wall right there on the exit ready to grab the tiniest mistakes and ruin the momentum into the parkland section of the circuit, turns 5 and 6. Use all of the exit available to defend your position into turns 7, 8, and 9 complex before crossing the boundary street once again through turn 10, where the bumps are unforgiving and will be sure to spit a car or two into the concrete here tonight. The hairpin of turn 11 is one of the best overtaking opportunities, and then it's about not making an error into turn 12 and 13 to end your lap. It's going to be action aplenty coming up here, all live on Sensational TV. Do not go anywhere. Yes, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. What an evening of racing we're going to be having here tonight for the MSR Racing League here, and it is going to be a fantastic night of racing. And for this round as well, the championship is really close at the moment as we take a look here at the standings. So taking the championship lead away after Hidden Valley is Dean Hanley with 1,360 points, and he's only trailed by 7 points to Lee Crowther, the Birdman, in position number 2. Jason McFadden, after missing the last round, falls down to 3rd position. Jacob Kelly in 4th, Hayden Cook in 5th, Mason Kurtz, Dean Johnson, Adam Betts, Sean North, and Andre Elliott round out your top 10. Zach O'Reilly makes a return to the series here tonight in position number 11 after clean sweeping Hidden Valley as well. So it was a fantastic round for himself to catapult him back up into 11th. Luke McCulloch, Lachlan Green, Bill Cosmarakis, and Hayden Wallace round out your top 15. And then for the bottom half of the field, it's Alan Paul, Richard King, Stephen Harrison, Clayton Waters, Wesley Harriott, Bailey Doble, Dion Clerk, Basil Webb, Heath Langley, Connor Mitchell, Liam Hanley, Cooper Shipley, Sam Wysack, Jonathan Mitchell, and Jay Roth to round out the field here of drivers. And speaking of the calendar, this is where we find ourselves here at Townsville for this round of the series on July 17th. But coming up soon, we've got Motor Mall Raceway, the newly named Motor Mall Raceway over in Wanneroo for Barbagallo. And then we go to Queensland Raceway. Then it's off to Enduro time, where we go to the Bend in South Australia. Bathurst as well is going to be a fantastic round of racing. The pinnacle of Australian motorsport. Surfers Paradise, Sandown Raceway, and then the streets of Adelaide in the Victoria Park Parklands to round out the season. And what a grandstand finisher that will be. And with the championship as close as it is, only 7 points separating your top two in the series, it is going to be everything to play for with these drivers here. And this is why practice is just so important for the series. So stay tuned, because this is going to be a fantastic evening of racing, and be sure to stick around for it, because as I said, it is going to be a blinder here tonight. It is going to be the biggest challenge yet for these drivers. The first time we're on a proper street circuit, you could class that Albert Park was indeed a street circuit. It is a street circuit, but with plenty of runoff, there's room for error around that circuit. This, not so much, as we head through into turn number 2 here. On board with Andre Elliott, you can see just how close the concrete barriers are around here. It's a true to the heart street circuit around here. And then the big bump on corner exits as well, as to really upset the exit and the rear tyres of the 600 horsepower beast that is the Gen 3 supercar in Assetto Corsa here. 1,300 kilos of these things away, and they've got a top speed of 295 kilometers an hour. And they'll get off the racing line here, well, for the start of the race, and get up to 100 k's an hour in just under 3 seconds, which is insanely quick for all of these drivers here. So keep an eye on everything happening here tonight for these ones, as Dion Clerk finds himself in the runoff here down at turns 7 and 8, as he now throws it into the pit lane for this one. And Bill Kosmarakis, we haven't seen too much of him recently. He was very, very quick in Sydney Motorsport Park, wasn't able to string the race results together that he probably would have wanted, but he definitely showed he has got pace in that number 17 Shell V-Power Racing Ford Mustang. And he is just waiting for that day to rock up, where that result is going to kick in. It is coming for him. He just has to be patient and let that result come to him. And he currently sits in 8th position here in the dying stages of this practice session. And well, this circuit has seen it all since 2009. 17 years ago this place opened, and I reckon it is going to be absolutely on, as we've got more server issues here. So it looks like the server is just about to be reset, and it is indeed being reset. So that means we're not too far away from qualifying here, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to go to a quick ad break, and we will be go time for qualifying. Do not go anywhere.
Motto is that safe drivers are lifesavers. If your organisation shares this belief and are planning to improve driver education in your community, SDT Simulator Driver Training has the solution. Many of our simulator users are also gaining a revenue stream by taking their simulators to events and schools for driver education programs. The system can also be set up to run motorsport simulation. Many leading racing drivers are now using simulators to improve their skills. Such software can also be used to show drivers they are not as skilled as they think they are. SDT Simulator Driver Training is a division of Safe Drive Training, one of Asia Pacific's leading driver training providers. We offer affordable driving simulators that are assembled in our Brisbane head office. SDT simulators are now in use across Australia and are expanding into international markets due to their affordable price, unique features, and customization for driver training. Depending on the simulator model being purchased, you will receive a range of training resources to help you to facilitate quality driver education. SDT is the exclusive distributor of Fatal Vision alcohol impairment goggles, marijuana simulation goggles, and drowsy and distracted blinking goggles. All are used to demonstrate the dangers of such impairments on the driver. Also available are driver training posters, driving handbooks, and distracted driving resources. Our simulators make the perfect training tool for drivers to experience how various impairments affect their performance.
Yes, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are not too far away at all for qualifying to be a go here in this session. We have only got about 30 seconds until the green light goes here for this qualifying session. And here to talk you through it all here tonight is myself, Peter Clark, in the commentary box. So I welcome you here to round number 7 of the series. It is going to be a fantastic evening of motorsport action at the Reed Park Street Circuit. And in this, well, it looks like we've got more server issues. So I will be right back once again with a ad break, and we will be back once the server has been reset.
Motto is that safe drivers are lifesavers. If your organisation shares this belief and are planning to improve driver education in your community, SDT Simulator Driver Training has the solution. Many of our simulator users are also gaining a revenue stream by taking their simulators to events and schools for driver education programs. The system can also be set up to run motorsport simulation. Many leading racing drivers are now using simulators to improve their skills. Such software can also be used to show drivers they are not as skilled as they think they are. SDT Simulator Driver Training is a division of Safe Drive Training, one of Asia Pacific's leading driver training providers. We offer affordable driving simulators that are assembled in our Brisbane head office. SDT simulators are now in use across Australia and are expanding into international markets due to their affordable price, unique features, and customization for driver training. Depending on the simulator model being purchased, you will receive a range of training resources to help you to facilitate quality driver education. SDT is the exclusive distributor of Fatal Vision alcohol impairment goggles, marijuana simulation goggles, and drowsy and distracted blinking goggles. All are used to demonstrate the dangers of such impairments on the driver. Also available are driver training posters, driving handbooks, and distracted driving resources. Our simulators make the perfect training tool for drivers to experience how various impairments affect their performance. Contact Simulator Driver Training for more information.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and it is now go time for qualifying. The servers had a reset and we are good to roar into this, and the drivers are as keen as ever to get themselves out onto this circuit at the moment here, because just have a look at the aggression that they're all showing at the moment. Lee Crouth is going to be leading the train out of here in qualifying, and you may notice a new name to the series in the stealth machine in the background. That is of the pure white Toyota Supra. Just behind of Lee Crowther here is Fabian Fitness, making his series debut here. A very late entry, hence why he doesn't have a livery assigned to him as of yet. So keep an eye out for that machine, because he was showing fantastic pace in the practice session and in the sessions leading up to this event as well. So he is going to be a bit of a dark horse to keep an eye on here for both of these races here tonight. We've got two 25 lappers coming up tonight with a compulsory pit stop involved as well, where drivers must use both the tyre compounds in the race as well. And just to add a little bit of extra sauce to the race as well, race number 2 will have a reverse top 12 as well. So let's ride on a lap on board here with Lee Crowther and take a look at how to navigate this repark circuit. Lee's been struggling a little bit with the rear end of his Ford Mustang here, flat out through turn number 1. Some drivers say it's very reminiscent of turn 8 at the Adelaide Street Circuit, and big time on the brakes there. You can see him full force on the pedal on the graphics there, and he will throw it through turn number 2, and now the run up to 3, which is really tricky because it's very easy to lock up one of your front tires there and send it off down the escape road. And then there's also the bump on exit, which is going to upset the car and upset your run through turns 4 and 5, as he now flings it through 6, using all of the exit curb available for himself to be able to flow as much speed as possible. He'll use all of the curbs, maybe a little bit too much there, and that's going to cause him to really throw away this lap, and he's now going to have to try and navigate the rest of this lap, knowing that his banker lap has not been very good so far for himself here. And he's actually just going to let go through Zach O'Reilly through here as well. So he knows that this lap hasn't been very good at all for himself. So what lap time does Zach O'Reilly do here? Was he held up with a very slow Lee Crowther in front after that mistake was made going through the 7, 8, and 9 complex of corners? Zach O'Reilly will be the first to set a pretty good lap time here. It's a 1 minute 10.8. Andre Elliott follows him through with a 0.9 as well. So the lap times are flying on here through, and Fabian Fitness is just leaving the pit lane, so he didn't really like his outlap that he had on that first time around. So he's gone back into the pit lane, come back out, and he's now going to try and do another warm-up phase here for these tires. It's very crucial for you to get a lap time in with the tires in as optimal window as possible. And you can see cars using all the road up in front. That was one dipping the wheel off into the grass, and across the line goes Bill Kosmarakis. I said that he's got pace in this machine, and he just needs to find the result. And there he goes, up in the 4th position at the moment here in this qualifying session, and he's going to be absolutely thrilled with that lap time. It's a 1 minute 11.3, so he only finds himself about 0.6 of a second away from provisional pole position, which is currently being held by Dean Hanley in the number 55 Chevrolet. So watch out for Bill Kosmarakis, because he's going to be on a return of form here and wanting to get himself back to the top of the standings, where we've seen him so often in previous races. And Sean North now rounding out his lap times here, and you can really see by the car attitude that he's really wanting to try and get himself here a very good result. As we take a look at the bumper cam, and we can see that he's got cars right up behind him as well, trying to get a little bit of that slipstream action as they come down the main straight and along the back sections as well. The slipstream around here will gain you 2 or 3 kilometers an hour down the straight, which in a game of only hundreds and even thousands of a second is huge margins. As he crosses the line now, and he's going to cross and get his first his lap time was actually invalidated, so that one will not count for himself, and so he's going to have to go again. And he's got a Toyota Supra in the way at turn number 1 for good measure as well. Andre Elliott has just had a bit of an incident here as well. He's lost the rear end and gone for a spin and been collected as well in the meantime. So that has not gone well. He was in a bit of an awkward spot. You can see where the dark tarmac is. So he was right on the racing line for himself. As now Zach O'Reilly comes into the final sector. He's got the best lap time at the moment. He's gone back to the top of the standings. It's a 109.8. So that's about where we saw it in the practice session. He's gone purple in the middle sector. So expect him to once again improve on this lap time on his next attempt here of a qualifying lap. He's already at the top, and he goes even faster to 109.6, so betters it by about 0.3 of a second does Zach O'Reilly. So fantastic lap time from himself. And let's expect him to keep trying to improve that as well, because he is one of these drivers who is never satisfied with a lap. He always knows there's going to be more. As now Fabian Fitness finally gets himself onto the board here, gets himself up into P8, which is not a bad showing at all for a first-time driver here in the Gen 3 Supercars for this series. Can Dean Hanley respond here with any sort of comeback, because he was at the top of the standings and he is now fallen down to position number 3, so he's on the second row of the grid provisionally here with 9.5 minutes left to go of this qualifying session. Keep an eye on his name to jump around here on the timing standings, as Dion Clerk now, he's also on a lap. He's gone purple in the micro first sector, so he's had a fantastic run out the final corner to get himself a good top end speed. And look how nice that Speed Nation car looks here on that Toyota Supra. It's going to be beautiful to watch it go around the circuit. He's got purple micro sectors actually popping up here and there on this lap. He's got a Mustang right in front of him just to try and distract him a little bit. Zach O'Reilly, he goes faster once again with a 9.683, so he's bettering his laps now by only hundredths of a second. But there will probably be a point in time as now himself and the car in front actually pull it into the pit lane. I think it was McCulloch. No, McCulloch's actually gone off. And so he's gone off at the middle part of the sector there. It looks like it was possibly at the 5-6 or the 7-8-9 complex there of S's as Dean Johnson crosses the line. So his lap time now is a 1 minute 11.717. And that one a little bit slower than what we've seen him do previously, and he's now going to be wanting to keep going again as now McCulloch's come to a stop once more. This looks like he's just about at turn 10 where the tram tracks are, and that is exactly where he is. He's just waiting for a car to go on through before he can keep going. Zach O'Reilly's put it into the pit lane, but what can Andre Elliott do? He was the car that was waiting for McCulloch there to go on through and not get in the way. He comes around the final corner here of turn 13. It's a very tight hairpin, and it's a good overtaking opportunity if you can get yourself out of turn 12 nice and square and have a bit of a run and you show enough of your nose up there to kind of force the issue. He doesn't improve on that lap. He goes second still. It's a 1 minute 10.1 from himself, so he has to find half a second to Zach O'Reilly. That's how much time as O'Reilly here has got over this field for the time being here. Lee Crowther finds himself in third position, and there we go. I was saying on his outlap, he's been struggling with the rear end of that car, and he throws it into the fence. And so that is exactly what we've been seeing in the practice session. And that rear end of the Mustang just keeps getting a little bit caught up. He wants to keep trying to overtake the front end of the car, and that's just not what you want to do into these ones. As Dean Hanley shows us, he's going back to his drifting days and showing us how to get this thing out sideways. And that is in the hands of Hanley in the number 55 Chevrolet. He is currently position number 4, and we saw him leading the timings not too long ago, and he will be wanting to try and get himself up onto the first row at the grid. At least, I know he's been telling me in races gone by, I'm doing no practice, I'm not feeling confident in the car, but he's being the championship leader. That is showing otherwise here for himself, so expect him to be right at the pointy end of this thing, and we've seen him do charges from the rear of the field as well when lap 1 doesn't go a bit too well for him, especially in the second race where sometimes you're caught up into the mischief out in the back of the field where when you're doing the reverse top 12 grid. So Dean Hanley will be absolutely one to watch, and so too is Jason McFadden, because when he is racing, he has got some pace. That does this man. Unfortunately, he just hasn't been able to show up consistently to every round of the season, and that's pretty much reflected his championship position, but he still holds third. So it just shows that when he is here, he is on fire and getting as many points as possible. Finds himself only 280 behind. But once we start adding in the drop rounds into this championship, into the second half of the season, expect things to get way more closer into the championship standings, because at the moment, the standings that we're running, with it being the first half of the season, do not have the drop round added on as of yet. Was trying to accumulate points in the championship, and then once we get into the second half, a drop rounds will be added in where their worst performing round of the season to date gets removed, so then hopefully we can boost their championship tally just a little bit, and it adds a little bit more spice as well. So consistency may not always pay off, and those who are lucky enough to have maybe a bad round and can have one of those rounds where they scored 0 crossed off, and it really helps them in their championship run, as Fabian Fitness has been an issue here down at turn number 10. So he has found some good pace, and unfortunately just hasn't been able to reflect it at the moment, and he's currently on the cusp of the top, well, he is in the top 10. He's only 200ths of a second away from Mitchell, so expect him to try and improve himself further above the Mitchell brothers there as well. So he's showing fantastic pace for his first time outing. Wesley Harriet, we just saw his name flick up red there as he was stationary on the circuit. Seems to have got the machine going again, so maybe a little bit of a reset there for his tribute livery to the Toll Holden days and the HRT days. What a fantastic year that was. Off the top of my head, that's like a 2012, 2013 livery from my memory. So wicked car to look at, and it just suits perfectly to the Camaro as well. Sometimes you kind of worry if the cars, if you run a retro livery, won't quite work here on the new Gen 3 vehicles. But Zach O'Reilly is about to finish out another lap here. He's gone purple in the middle sector once again. He's really finding the pace here in the middle sector. He's got fresh rubber on the machine with 4 minutes left to go, so he'll be doing his final runs now. And does he improve on his lap time as he crosses the start-finish line? The answer is no, he does not improve. In fact, that may have been an outlap. If it was a very fast outlap, a 1 minute 10.5. And so Expect him to be on fire here on this lap. In fact, let's ride on board with him and to see how the guy who's currently provisionally on pole position goes about his racecraft here at the Reed Park Street Circuit. And you can see that a handful of opposite lock trying to get the thing pointing straight so he can squirt the throttle on the exit there of turn number 3, flowing the car breezingly through turns 5 and 6, using all of the exit road available, and now using the entry road and a bit of opposite lock as well for good measure. So he's not going to be happy with that. He's going to now be thinking about maybe where he wants that brake bias adjusted to protect his rear tires, because we're talking about how Hidden Valley went, and it was a tire game. It was 100% a tire game in the heat there of the Darwin Sun. So being in the top end once more here in Queensland, and he's actually set it back to the pit, so not happy with that one, and he's immediately set it back, fresh rubber on, and going for another lap as Andre Elliott, who's currently sharing the front row of the grid with Zach O'Reilly. He's looking to try and get himself a possible pole position here, but to do so he's going to have to find that half a second wild here in Supercars racing. It is a night and day difference. The commentators in real life just last week, when the Supercars took on the Reed Park Street Circuit, they were talking about Cam Waters getting a pole position of 0.2 of a second and calling that a country mile pole position. And we're now talking about here at Misfits Sim Racing, half a second was Zach O'Reilly above this man here, Andre Elliott. So Zach O'Reilly is in a league of his own at the moment. The other drivers will have to find that time elsewhere. It was a green middle sector there for Elliott, so he's finding a little bit of time. Just needs to string that lap together. And for Dean Hanley in third position at the moment, it looks like he's still trying to lap around and get himself a few good laps here. He's got a Toyota Supra just in front of him. It looks like it's the damn machine of McCulloch. So he will be wanting to make sure that car does not get in the way of his lap time here and possibly hold him up. And because we never know, we see the grey microsectors at the moment, but he may just need a final good corner, and that can catapult him up the ladder here. But it looks like he's going a little bit slow now, and so looking to start another lap in anger for Dean Hanley to get himself up another one. Sean North, though, is off the road, and so is Postlewaite here. So look at him go in a position number 14. He's a first-time driver as well, and he'll be looking for that one. So here we go, Zach O'Reilly on another lap once more. He's about to go into the section of corners here where he was locking up the rears and decided to call it quits. On that one, he knows that if he wants to improve, he's looking for only hundredths of a second now, if not thousands of a second, rather than just tenths. And so this time around, no rear locking and no instability in the car. He's got a Supra right in front of him who very kindly gets out of the way of Dion Clerk, and O'Reilly now making his way through the final sector of corners here, and it is going to be a big braking zone here into turn number 13. Gets the thing stopped nicely using second gear here, and now he's foot to the floor and the run to the start finish line. Interestingly enough, not using the trek there to hold it up against the grass there to shorten your distance though, but he's thinking about long term. He's thinking about going for multiple laps in a row here in this qualifying session. So running that line is just going to cause your next lap to be a little bit funky there with your turn 1 and turn 2 entries. So thinking long term is O'Reilly at the moment in his qualifying session, and thinking very much like a racing car driver, despite himself already being on provisional pole. He's not thinking about just what more he can do, as now Lee Crowther throws it up into position number 2. So he's taken Andre Elliott's front row starting position away from himself, and the Mustang now into position number 2. And just as I say that, Elliott now claps back now with a 109.95 as now the checker flag drops. So these final laps coming in will be the official times here for this qualifying session, which means now this final lap that we're seeing O'Reilly on will be the determining factor. If he can beat that 109.683 as he rounds the final corner, he's going to come to the start finish line. It's going to be a very short run, and I don't think he's happy with it because he's swerving all over the road as he finishes the lap. Lee Crowther, he's got another opportunity here to try and get himself further up the road. He very momentarily had row number 1, grid slot number 2 for this race, but now all he has to do is just find 400ths of a second. Can he find it? Because he's at a green middle sector, so he is looking very strong here in the final sector, and he's got the green micros to prove it as well. In sector number 3, all he's got to do is navigate the final corner. He does so. Second gear, third gear, fourth gear, going through the revs across the start finish line, and he does go up to position number 2 with a purple final sector as well. Lee Crowther, at the death of the session, takes away that position, and Hayden Cook here is still on a lap as well. He's going across the start finish line. Can he improve from position number 20? And the answer is no. So he'll start in position number 20. Zach O'Reilly is your pole sitter here for race 1 here at the Reed Park Street Circuit in Townsville. Do not go anywhere. If qualifying is anything to be off, this is going to be a ripper.
Motorsport isn't just a hobby, it's a lifestyle. And when performance matters, you need gear you can trust. That's where ARD Importing comes in. ARD Importing brings world-class racing brands straight to New Zealand, supplying real racers, real teams, and real enthusiasts with proven performance products around the globe. We're talking JRP racing components, Zamp helmets, and safety gear you can rely on the track. Red Cat Racing for high-performance RC action, and intimate brake pads for serious stopping power when it counts most. Keep your engine protected with renewable lubricants, premium oils designed for extreme performance and durability. Turn up the volume with Wicked Audio, delivering powerful sound whenever the road or track takes you. And gear up with Spartan products built for durability, comfort, and race day durability. Whether you're racing dirt, asphalt, or chasing lap times from home, ARD Importing has you covered. Sim racers as well, listen up, ladies and gentlemen, because ARD New Zealand is your importing source for all of Camus Racing sim gear. Precision wheels, professional grade pedals, immersive feedback that puts you right in the driver's seat. Train harder, race smarter, and feel every corner. From real-world racing to the virtual grid, ardimporting.co.New Zealand connects you with elite brands trusted by racers worldwide.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're not too far away from the green lights going off here for race number 1 at the Reed Park Street Circuit here in Townsville, Queensland, Australia. And it is Zach O'Reilly here on the pole position. We saw that fantastic lap from himself, half a second in the end, or just shy of half a second for him to get that pole position, with Lee Crowther snagging the front row starting position away from Andre Elliott at the death of the session. Elliott will end up in 3rd position with Dean Handley alongside Jason McFadden in 5th position, Dion Clerk in position number 6, Mason Kurtz, and then Bill Kosmarakis in 8th position. Connor Mitchell and Fabian Fitness round out your top 10 here for race 1 of the MSR Racing Championship here, brought to you by NMAX Services. So it's going to be a fantastic night of racing. Jonathan Mitchell And then Heath Langley sharing that row of the grid. Sean North and Greg here in position number 14. Ezra Simons in the monster car with Luke McCulloch there. We saw a few issues for himself in qualifying and unfortunately wasn't able to get a big lap time in for himself to get himself further than position number 16. Dean Johnson and then Hayden Wallace in position 18. And then Wesley Harrier in that beautiful retro livery. Clayton Waters and then Hayden Cook to round out the grid here for race number 1. It is going to be a wicked evening of racing and we are not too far away from getting this thing underway for 25 laps of racing. And if you are unaware, it is going to be 25 laps with a compulsory pit stop window as well for them to use, where they must have both tyre compounds completed in the race. And the pit window is from lap 1 to 20, so they've got to get it done before the end of lap number 20. Well, there, they may face some penalties coming up in this one. And just to show the pace that we had in qualifying, the current lap record around here, race lap record that is Nick Perker in a VF Colton Commodore back in 2017. So it's been some time since that's been eclipsed, and it was a 112.9311. So we have absolutely smashed it here tonight in qualifying trim, at least by about 3 seconds. So fantastic laps and pace from these guys here so far, and it is going to be a awesome evening of racing coming up right now. But Zach O'Reilly's on very good form. He's got the pole position here. He's got the pole position in Hidden Valley. So too, Simmons Plains, Albert Park, and Sydney Motorsport Park. So he's quite the qualifying guru at the moment. But he does have also 4 race wins so far this season to account for that as well in the race pace department. Can he make it win number 5 here tonight? We're not too far away from finding out as the lights are getting ready to illuminate here in Queensland, Australia. It is going to be 25 laps of chaos. It's the first time we've been on a proper street circuit so far this season, and we are away here for race number 1, and it's a fantastic start from Lee Crowther. Look at him go here in race number 1. He has had a dream start, and he's going to properly clear the likes of Zach O'Reilly before they even make it to turn number 1, and he's going to be able to take it into turn number 2 unchallenged. O'Reilly in the background though, he did have a little bit of a challenge there from Dean Hanley, who now slots into 3rd position, and there's issues at the back, and it's Fabian Fitness. He's gone around at turn number 2, so his top 10 starting position has been thrown out of the dumpster, and he is now down into position number 21, which has not gone well for himself. And look at them all going as well. Sean North is now backwards here at turn number 3, so it's all kicking off here, classic Townsville style, and it is going to be big days in the office for those 2 drivers in the likes of Fabian Fitness and Sean North to get themselves up into this one. But for the likes now of Lee Crowther, he's got a very fast driver here of O'Reilly now right behind him, and in the background now, the side by side is Elliott and Hanley. They're going to battle it out. Hanley's been half spun there. He's got Dion Clark right up his inside now. He's got McFadden now trying to take away that position as well. McFadden gets that one taken away from Clark, but he's unable to continue on and try and get that one away from Dean Hanley here. And he's going to run side by side. A little bit of side drafting action now happening between these two, and they're going to go side by side through turn number 1. How is this one going to go? It's typically not a 2-way lane through here, and McFadden has to pull out of it, and that will continue to go racing. But look at the queue of cars they've now got behind. Bill Cosmarakis is trying to pull himself into this battle pack as well for good measure, and because of all of that, they've now lost 2 seconds to your leading 2, who are only separated by 0.2 of a second. And McFadden in the background, up on the curbs, nearly rolled it into the barriers, and he'll lose that one that he just got from Dion Clark. Clark back onto the 5th, McFadden down into 6th position. What an opening couple of laps we've had here at Townsville, and it is going to be on for the rest of it as well. So McFadden's got some work to do, and that's allowed Hanley to get off the hook now as well, because he's only got 1 second now between the lot of them. But Zach O'Reilly now goes up for the race lead here, and he has taken that one away from Lee Crowther. So the driver who got pole position by about 0.4 of a second takes it back of the lead after a poor race start here from the front row of the grid, as now Mitchell's had issues. He's in the tyre barrier at turn number 10. He's going to lose a heap of positions as well, and so he's going to fall right to the back of the field, and it is all kicking off here. He's also going to lose the position to Clayton Waters, but back out in front, Lee Crowther has now got a windshield full of Zach O'Reilly, and is going to be wanting to try and at least stick with him and maybe see if he can look after his tyres a bit better and than what Zach O'Reilly can, and get himself and possibly P1 back here. We know Crowther's a very, very quick operator, as now Mason Kurtz and McCulloch, everyone's currently tumbling down the order, and it looks like we've had issues here at turn number 2. A bit of a concertina effect happening here. Kurtz is down the order, McCulloch is also down the order, and he's now down to position number 21, so it's been all kicking off here. O'Reilly's now spread his wings and gone to 7/10 of a second, so he's showing his wingspan over the Birdman of Lee Crowther for that one. And McFadden is still all over the back here of Dion Clerk, but they're continuing to lose time now. It's a Dean Hanley in position number 4. It's now 1.4 seconds. It was only the 1 second just a lap ago, and so as this battle rages on, and watch Hanley just disappear off into the sunset here as the sun begins to set over the mountain in the foreground. So O'Reilly also setting the pace of 109.9 for that one. No one else around him is even close to being in the 109s, as now McFadden is looking for a move here, and look how close he is up the back of Dion Clerk. Does he dare go for the move now around the outside of turn 2? It's going to be a very daring overtake. If he can get it done, he's going to go super late on the brakes. Can't get it done, but is he going to go for the switchback? That's exactly what it's going to do. We're on board for it, and that was a beautiful move from McFadden. Now he's on the inside as they head up into turn number 2. Is he going to get the curbing right this time? Absolutely he does. And now look at him now up into position number 5. He was very cautious on the exit as well, which has allowed Clerk to stay right up behind him, and now he can go really aggressive on the curbs once more and try and close that gap to Dean Hanley, which is now over 2 seconds between the lot of them as the battling rages on in the foreground. Now Jonathan Mitchell's just lost out on a few of those. He's locked up into turn number 3, allowed Sean North and Dean Johnson to go on through on that one. So 2 drivers trying to make a bit of a recovery here, especially for Sean North. We saw him backwards at turn number 3 on the opening lap, so and to be back up into 16th after being last at one point in this race is a fantastic effort from himself so far already here, and expect him to continue trying to climb his way, maybe throw a bit of pit stop strategy into this one as well when we start getting into the realm of when drivers want to start going into the pits. And I have not spoken to any of the drivers. I'm leaving myself here in the dark to what the strategy they would want to do here. We've seen plenty of drivers try and stick it out longer in the first stint and then try and go for a shorter second stint, and if that's going to work here, we don't know as of yet. Race 1 is going to be a bit of a learning curve, and then they're going to take those findings into race number 2 with the reverse top 12 and see what they can do here, as Hayden Cook now looks to pull off a very similar move to what we saw just a lap ago here. Cookie around the outside. Can he get the move done on Heath Langley? I think the answer is absolutely yes, he can. And here comes Fabian Fitness in the background as well. He's looking to try and make a recovery drive for himself. He was backwards at turn number 2. It's now McFadden. McFadden's off the road, so it's been a mare of a race so far for Jason McFadden, and he now plummets to just holding on to a top 10 position for himself. Here comes Hayden Wallace, and he will lose the top 10 as well for good measure. And then around the outside, who tries to go, was that Hayden Wallace? No. Who was that tried to go around the outside? It was Hayden Cook tried to go around the outside of him, lost the rear, and he's taken him straight to the pits. And for Heath Langley, unfortunately, he's caught up into that one as well. Oh, and nearly taken out by Luke McCulloch, who came onto the scene as well as he was trying to rejoin. So that got also messy for a moment there through the 7, 8, and 9 complex of corners. So when things get heated up, they get to a boiling point, and it just wants to head on out of the pot for McFadden, though. Unfortunately, now finds himself in position number 11, outside of your top 10. He has to try and find positions back on Wallace, Simons, Greg, Mitchell, Kosmarakis, and Dion Clerk. So that's a big list of drivers that he's going to have to get his way back on through, and to see if he can't get himself a decent points haul here to try and recover a bit of what he had in the championship. He was the championship leader at one point, remember, as well. Now finds himself 3rd in the standings, some 200 points off of the championship leader, who currently finds himself in position number 4 in the hands of Dean Hanley. And then 2nd in the championship as well, is currently 2nd on the road of Lee Crowther. So the 2 drivers in front of him in the championship currently have a decent pull gap of points over him already in this race, as he makes a brilliant move around the outside of turn number 8. And that was McFadden now getting by Hayden Wallace. He's now back inside the top 10, and for Hayden Wallace, he's in a bit of an awkward situation. Does he look in front and try and get himself looking at Jason McFadden, who makes another mistake, and that's going to be another loss for McFadden. It does possibly Fabian Fitness try and get his way on through. He's going to dive it down the inside here, as now Greg pulls it into the pit. So the first of your compulsory pit stoppers is going into the lane now, and for Fabian Fitness, he's going to have a bit of the slipstream action here, and look at him and get slightly closer here. He's going to have to go on through turn number 1 here, and look at the run he's going to get. He's going to show it down the inside. He does think better of it, doesn't show his nose that time around, but we can see, oh, and that's a huge moment there from Wallace. He half spun it, he got straightened out by Jason McFadden, so McFadden will take that one back, and now this opens up the door. We've got Supras going side by side, Fitness on the inside of Wallace, and Fitness is going to get that position as well, but last time out, podium finisher Mason Kurtz is now lurking there in position number 12 as well in the flip side Energy Mustang. So watch him to be a force to be reckoned with. He's got a load of confidence after Hidden Valley and will be wanting to use that momentum that he's got to continue on his run here. And right behind is Sean North, who will, at this rate, it seems like he's got the red mist ascending, and does he try and show his nose at turn number 10? Turn number 9. He does over the tram tracks, and that's put, unfortunately, Kurtz in the fence, and the bit of damage now showing on his car as now McFadden is backwards. McFadden is backwards once again, now falls down to 13th position. Is he going to lose one to Dean Johnson here? He will lose it to Dean Johnson, and he will also lose it to Jonathan Mitchell as well. And so that was a horrific corner there for McFadden. Well down the order now in position number 15. What is going on with this race? He just can't keep the rear end stable enough for himself to try and get enough pace up. Is he possibly overheating the tyres every time he makes a bit of a mistake there? Because it just seems that car is just very unpredictable for him to drive at the moment. Sean North is battling it out to try and get himself now up into the side of the top 10. So he's been able to dispatch Mason Kurtz going over the tram tracks there. And now he looks to go down the inside here at turn number 3. And will do so, and for Hayden Wallace, that was a poor exit for himself, and for a moment there, it looks like that Mason Kurtz would try and get himself up into position number 11. He can't get it done though. Had a heap of wheel spin going onto the back there of Wallace, and was not able to take advantage of the momentum he had over the Toyota Supra directly in front of him, and he will be wanting to try and make quick work of this, because he knows he's got pace on board of this Mustang, and with the drivers making mistakes like that right in front, Hayden Wallace getting it all locked up and now cutting the corner as well for good measure. Is Wallace possibly just giving the spot back? And it looks like he may have been there as well, so he'll lose that one out. Fabian Fitness now pulls it into the pit lane, so we got another one for the compulsory pit stopper, but all eyes will be looking at Zach O'Reilly now, because he is the one in control of this race. He has got a 3.5 second lead over Lee Crowther. Once he got the clean air, he has just been able to fly along with this one, and he will now be looking to think about, I'm not in a rush to go into the pit lane. I have got time on my hands. He's got a good couple of laps up his sleeve if Lee Crowther tries and pull an undercut on himself, so he can kind of keep an eye and keep tabs on what everyone else is doing in this race, and then just kind of a play by what they're doing. Now Ezra Simon's lining up as red, and unfortunately for the Mustang, he is off at turn number 6, and so he's going to have to get back onto the circuit nice and quickly. He was inside the top 10, now falls down to position number 14. Very unfortunate for himself, and you can see just once these tires get dirty with these cars, no traction control, no driver aids. And so once they get dirty, once they're a bit heated up, outside of that optimal tire window, they are a handful and a half to get on going up, back up the speed. So he is really trying to just get the power down, just try and get a bit of pace back up as McFadden continues to try and get himself back up through this field. He's up to position number 11 now. He's in the background. Mitchell is looking to try and get the move on Johnson. Sorry, it's Johnson trying to get the move done on Mitchell. They'll go side by side down the main straightaway. Do they dare go side by side though? Through turn number 1, it's a flat out corner, but side by side it can be a bit sketchy. They do manage to hold it flat out side by side through turn number 1. And Johnson looks to the outside. He's going to try and get the switchback here. He can't get it done though, and so he'll have to hold on to the number 13 at the moment and think about how he can get up to 12th position, because it's not going to be on the exit of the final corner and try and get it done at turn number 2. And you're going to have to think of somewhere else he can put the power down and try and get this one done. And for Hayden Wallace, he's still looking at the back of Mason Kurtz here. Now Harriet is being listed as having an off, and the toll holding machine has been off at turn number 3, losing a ton of positions. And there goes Fabian Fitness. So he's one of our first drivers to come in for a pit stop, and you can just see the amount of pace that he's got. He's currently all over the back of Clayton Waters here, and he'll look to the inside. And can he get the position done? No, he can't. But in the background, and that's Greg, another driver who has made a pit stop. And look at at the move that they've been able to make. And so Fabian Fitness goes on through, Greg goes on through here as well. And so the Toyota and the Camaro cleaning up the field here in the tail end as they try and make their way through the traffic as easily as possible to get themselves a good undercut going. But with this traffic, that's also going to eat away at their tire life here. So now Greg and Fabian Fitness will be looking to get themselves a little bit of clean air, and that's exactly where Fabian Fitness has currently now found himself. Clean air on the nose of his Toyota Supra. He's going to be able to lay down some good lap times. So we saw him inside the top 10 of qualifying, so he's got pace in this GR Toyota Supra. It's just about whether if he can use it and get himself a bit of an undercut going, because he had that incident at turn number 2 on the opening lap and is looking to try and just gain as many points as he can in this championship. It only takes a good round or two and you really catapult yourself up the standings with it being so close in the championship. So watch out for himself and to keep him making moves here. And for Hayden Wallace, Jason McFadden is now all over the back of him and looking to possibly try and make a maneuver here down into turn number 10. McFadden's too far behind and he thinks about it, doesn't quite get it done, forces Wallace to go a little bit wide, and now through goes on Jason McFadden there up into position number 10. So despite being backwards all those times, he is now finding himself back inside the top 10 and now promoted up to 9th because Mason Kurtz now thrown it into the pit lane there. So he's making his compulsory pit stop, and for Jonathan Mitchell, unfortunately, he's found himself off the road here and he's going to use that as an opportunity to actually just throw it into the pit lane and possibly repair some of the damage if possible. And the 67 machine is now in the pit lane, and maybe possibly a little bit of steering damage as well as he rode the wall there on the entry to the lane. So now that is going to be one to think about, as now Zach O'Reilly's got a new challenge here in this race. Lap traffic. Lap 13 of 25. This race is absolutely flying by. We're about half race distance now, so it is about time when you'll start thinking of when the drivers have done their compulsory pit stop that they'll be starting to come into the pit lane now, as Fabian Fitness makes his maneuver now down the inside there of Heath Langley and gets himself up into position number 14, so carving his way through the field with the fresh tyres. But all these drivers going out long will then have the advantage over himself in the second portion of this race, as he really extends this second stint out for Fitness here. So watch for a bit of a comeback from a few of these drivers. Is really carving up now as a few more drivers are coming into the lane. Kosmarakis and Mitchell both into the lane for their compulsory pit stops. So some of the top 10 now finding their way inside the pit lane. How does it look up and down the field? Because Andre Elliott's got a heap of clean air at the moment. He's got 6 seconds in front of him, 5 seconds behind, a bit of no man's land for himself at the moment. And Dean Handling is currently in a position number 4. We saw him up into position number 3 for a moment of time, but unfortunately dropped down to 4th, and also in the same boat as Andre Elliott. He's got 5 seconds in front of him and nearly 5 seconds behind him, and so he's got no pressure from behind or in front for Dean Handling, and as just pretty much running his own race at the moment in time. And I'm sure he's going to also use the pit cycle to try and get himself further up the field. We saw the pit stop cycle be a big benefit, a big factor in Hidden Valley for Dean Handling. So he was in position number 2 off the top of my head before the pit cycle, but unfortunately there was just no pace onto the next compound of tyres that he threw on the car, and there was just no pace and fell off of the podium. So he'll have to have a think about what he's going to do pit stop wise for this one, because he doesn't want to repeat of that. In fact, he wants to try and use this opportunity now to jump himself from position number 4 up into 3rd if possible. But a 5-second undercut is going to be huge if he can pull it off, especially over the likes of Andre Elliott. So now we see him just coast the car over the curbing across the extra runway. There's now Hayden Wallace pulls into the pit lane, so another driver making their compulsory pit stop there, the 171 machine of the GR Toyota Supra. Outside of the top 10 now, from inside the top 10, as Hayden Cook has now had an issue here onto the racing circuit. What's happened to him? And he's had a big moment at turns number 5 and 6, and so there's a big heap of damage to the front of his machine. And have a look at that. That will not be handling very nicely at all for the remainder of this one. 11 laps to go in this race. And I've just noticed as well, the gap may be slightly coming back down on the, for Zach O'Reilly. Lee Crowther's going to go on through. That was a huge moment to cut back to for O'Reilly there. He was spinning it on the exit of turn number 2. He's thrown it into the fence, lost the race lead. So a driver looking so comfortable has now thrown it all away on lap number 15 of this one. Lee Crowther is your new race leader here, ladies and gentlemen, for this one. So that has been a horrific lap there for Zach O'Reilly, and now the race is in the hands of Crowther. What does he do with the pit stop? He's got a heap of traffic in front of him. Some would say, pull it into the lane now. Why he's in the lead, get himself the clean air, try and not get held up with these lap cars, and that is going to be on the mind of Lee Crowther. He's a very wise driver behind the wheel, but he doesn't do that. He's going to keep going for another lap. What does Zach O'Reilly do? He's going to also go for another lap. The red mist would have well and truly ascended, and what was a 3.5 second lead to Lee Crowther for O'Reilly has now flipped to the complete opposite way. It's now a 3.5 second deficit to Lee Crowther as he carves his way through the blue flaggers. It looks like he's got the likes of one of the Camaros right in front of him, just trying to check out the livery of which one it is. And it looks like they're currently lapping. That was Greg, I think it was, that they've just lapped as well. And yes, it was, because Mason Kurtz is tucked in right behind as well for good measure. And for Lee Crowther, this is a position that I don't think he was going to be able to find himself in for this one. Leading the race from over halfway distance now for that one. So this is a huge moment in the race and for the championship as well, because Crowther only second in the standings, 7 points clear behind Dean Hanley at the moment. So this will be huge for himself, because Hanley now finds himself in position number 4. He wasn't able to become a beneficiary of that incident for O'Reilly. So this is huge in the championship. Do not get me wrong about that. This is gigantic for the championship, especially once we start considering a drop round and when things start to shrink up here in this championship, as now Heath Langley brings it into the pit lane for his compulsory stop as well. So the compulsory stops are now starting to fly on in, and your top 4 at the moment, at least top 5 actually, have not come into the lane. The first of the pit stoppers so far is Sean North in position number 6. So his pit stop cycle has proved to be brilliant at the moment. I'm pretty sure he's coming to the lane. I'm trying to remember if he has or hasn't. I don't think he has actually now from my memory. He's still trying to recover from the turn 3 incident on the opening lap. But Lee Crowther, your race leader, has gone around for another lap here. He's now in the middle part of the sector, so we'll stay with him and see if he comes into the pit lane here, because it's going to be huge if he does, because that'll then give Zach O'Reilly, rather than looking in his mirrors to try and work out what his pit cycle is going to be, O'Reilly now has the opportunity to look ahead and try and copy what Lee Crowther does, put him on a level playing field, or try and see if he's got the pace and try and go for the overcut and negate the fresher rubber that Lee Crowther's going to get. They're both on the super soft tires. In fact, your top 11, now 12, are on the super soft tires as Hayden Wallace gets himself by of Greg there, as Crowther goes on by for another lap, and so too does O'Reilly. So your top 2, 3, 4, 5, everyone at the moment in the top of the standings, not coming in just yet for their compulsory pit stop. And for Heath Langley, he's coming out in a heap of traffic for himself. Look at this train of cars he's got right behind him. He's got Jonathan Mitchell and Luke McCulloch for good measure as well. And I thought that was a half look there from Mitchell in the Riptide Esports team. And look at that, he has lost the rear. We're on board for it. He's lost the rear, and now he's going to lose a heap of momentum as well, as now there's an issue up the road for Hayden Wallace as this battle goes on. Hayden Wallace, he's spun it, and he's nearly wiped out Dean Hanley in the meantime as well. So he's going to lose a sorry, that was Dean Johnson that nearly got tangled up in that one. So that was a huge moment there for it, and in fact it was actually Dean Hanley nearly involved in that one actually. And for Jonathan Mitchell, he's still holding on to this one, the 67 machine in 16th position. He's got McCulloch right behind him, so Heath Langley absolutely has made a huge error there. Was in position 16, now falls down to 18th, and all it took there for him to lose those 2 spots was a big light up of the rear tires for that one. As now I believe Lee Crowther has come into the pit lane, and absolutely he has. Your current race leader of this one, and Zach O'Reilly, you can see in the mirror, has followed him as well, as they now pull it into the pit lane for their compulsory pit stop. So this is going to be a very fascinating pit stop game between the lot of them. Andre Elliott goes on through though, so he's going to take the provisional race lead. Very quick stop though for Lee Crowther. Does Zach O'Reilly under fuel? Does he go for a quicker pit stop? No, he can't get it done, and so he's going to have to follow Lee Crowther out. But Andre Elliott, your race leader now, in the Camaro, the 37 machine, so he's looking to try and lap yet another car here, and that's Greggy's trying to lap. So they're lapping up to position number 12 at the moment here are your race leaders, but Elliott's still yet to pit. So How long does he keep extending for? He's going to see that number 1 now up on his timing, knowing that he's the race leader. He knows the other guys have come into the pit lane. So too is Dion Clerk. So too is Sean North. So there we go. That was the answer I was trying to look for. Sean North has indeed now come in for his compulsory pit stop. Hadn't quite done it as of yet, but it's still going to be a fantastic pit stop cycle for himself if he can get the car out in a quick manner. And he is going to get the car out in a pretty decent manner here as well as he exits the pit lane. He's currently positioned number 9. He'll lose out the Fabian Fitness, and look at that clear road behind him. And so despite being backwards at turn number 3 on the opening lap, Sean North, what a pit stop cycle, what a comeback drive, because now the driver in front of him of Fabian Fitness in position number 9 is going to be a 4 position. So this is going to be very interesting to see what Sean North can do with this pace on the soft compound tyres, brand new softs as well for good measure to finish off the last few laps of this one. As now we've got Dean Handley and Andre Elliott into the pit lane, which is going to allow Lee Crowther to come on through back into the race lead. And there we go, the pit window has now closed as well, so those drivers getting in at the death of when they're allowed to. But for O'Reilly, this is his view, this is what he is looking at. He is looking at Lee Crowther right in front of him. He's going to be wanting to try and get himself to the tail end of this car. We've seen O'Reilly already, especially at Sydney Motorsport Park, last lap tussles, and that was with Adam Betts in the opening round of the season. What a 2 races we had there at Sydney Motorsport Park. They were determined on the final lap. Grandstand finishes between the lot. McFadden is now in the pit lane as well, so he's doing his compulsory pit stop, and you can see the aggression over the curbing, opposite lock everywhere for O'Reilly. He is not going easy at the moment. He is putting everything he's got behind that steering wheel and through the pedal box, and to make sure the nose of his car gets to the rear end of Lee Crowther's Mustang, that's trying to set up an overtake or pressure Crowther into a mistake here. And so keep an eye on the gap here. It's currently 1.1 seconds as Crowther makes a huge mistake into the final corner, goes super wide, and that's going to cost him a heap of time as well for good measure. So this is going to be the race to watch. The comeback story for O'Reilly. He was backwards in the fence at turn number 2 as we head up to it right now. Only a few laps ago, he's done the pit stop. He lost the lead. He's gained 2 seconds back, 2.5 seconds back from what it was. And he is now looking to try and see if he can't get himself back onto Lee Crowther and line up an overtake here for that one. Connor Mitchell is right behind Bill Kosmarakis at the moment, so Kosmarakis is having a much better round than what we've seen the last couple of times out. Unfortunately for himself, at Darwin, having pit stop issues for himself, so that didn't go to plan. He's in a pit position number 6 at the moment, and are looking to be under attack very soon from Connor Mitchell, as Clayton Ward is getting out the way of the battling here at Repark. So going to look at the curb usage, nearly threw the thing on his lid, using that much curbing there at turn number 2, and he's looking to still trying to set up an overtake here in his Riptide Esports car. So keep an eye on him, as now that's actually Waters in the background going for a bit of a spin. He lost it on the exit there in the Wendy's car, so he's going to look to try and get that one pointing the back in the right direction, get the throttle going, and he's back underway in position at number 19. As now the gap out in the front is, look at this, only 0.7 of a second. It is closing now at a great rate of knots for Zach O'Reilly. The Mustang in front of him getting ever closer, and let's throw in a bit of lap traffic as well for this one. The lap traffic could make or break someone's race here with only a few laps left to go here in this Townsville doubleheader. It is going to be fantastic racing. It is now down to only 0.6 of a second. The pressure is piling on to Lee Crowther. This is the section of track we've seen him get very squirrely on the exit. He missed the apex there at the corner just before, and now look at the closing speed on O'Reilly. He's right up to the back bar there of Lee Crowther. It's only 0.3 of a second now between the two of them as they head over Boundary Street once more at turn number 10, and here they go into the hairpin, and the lap cars will definitely now start to play a bit of a mind game for Crowther, because he's not going to know where he wants to look. Does he go left? Does he go right in his defense? Does he go for the overtake on a car? Dean Hanley's had an issue. He's now dropped it into the grass, and he's now going to lose out not on a position here, but he might actually, with Dion Clark being right behind him. Clerk will look to the outside in his GR Super. There's now a bit of damage to the front of Hanley's machine, as well as the gap continues to close now for Lee Crowther. And look at this as they head into turn number 2. They're right there. The lap car gets out of the way. Dion Clerk is side by side with Hanley at the moment, and they're going to go side by side down the straight here. But we're watching the battle for the lead, because this is going to be crucial stuff when it comes to championship time. And look at the aggression from Zach O'Reilly. He's using every bit of road. He got the thing jumping out of the air, because he just glanced the wall at the right angle. He's using all the road available nearly onto the grass there on the exit there of turn number 6, as they now head into turn number 7. 8, and now turn number 9, and look at the aggression there. It is rear end out sideways there for Zach O'Reilly, and he's just trying to get the thing with a heap of pace. He's using all the road available. There is not a cigarette paper left between himself and the concrete wall there on corner entry. It is as close as you can get. In fact, he's probably breaking the laws of physics with net coding there going into that corner, and the battle will continue as they head onto lap number 24. 2 laps of racing now, people, and Lee Crowther is even looking at trying to break the toe, or was he just trying to get out the way of the lapped car? Who knows? We don't care, because all we care about is the battle ensuing at the moment between these 2 drivers, and it is going to be a grandstand finish. 0.4 of a second, more lap cars getting in the way, and they know what's at stake here. They know what's at stake. They're getting well out of the way of these guys. As now Greg's had a bit of an issue. He's fallen down the order. He's now dropped down to 14th position from position number 12. Oh, sorry, position number 11. So he's had a bit of a moment, lost a handful of positions. Crowther, half a second. The gap's extended just slightly. He's doing everything he needs at the moment to hold on to it. But look at the speed O'Reilly can take into that complex of corners. He closes right up to the back bar of the Mustang, and will continue to do so as every lap continues on. And look how close he is to the wall there on the entry to the hairpin. O'Reilly throwing everything he has got here at Lee Crowther to try and get this race win back from himself. He was in such control until that turn 2 incident, as now Dean Johnson's also had an issue. He's going to lose a ton of positions down to position number 14. And so now the final lap is on here for this race. Grandstand finish between Zach O'Reilly versus Lee Crowther. It's Camaro versus Ford. It's Chevrolet versus Mustang. Who is going to come up on top of this one? And it is going to be on for young and old between these 2. Crowther will be trying to do everything he's got in the driver handbook here to get himself a race win here in this series. He hasn't quite been able to do it yet. He's come so close to race wins. He's had podiums, but not the race win here yet in a Gen 3 supercar. And he is looking to do that here. How quick is O'Reilly going to be able to throw it into here? It is super quick. It is super quick. And he is just unable to get the power down to try and close up. But he's as close as he has ever been now to the back of Crowther, going into the hairpin. Does he go for the late lunge? He thinks about it. He's showing the nose. He is making Lee Crowther look in his mirrors. Crowther, though, he's wise to it. He knows that was too far back for an overtake. And O'Reilly's going to have to go for an Anton De Pasquale-esque dive bomb here into the final corner. But he's locked up. He's made a mistake. There's an issue, and Lee Crowther has thrown away the race win at the final corner. What is going on there? Zach O'Reilly will take the win, but only 0.3 of a second. The pressure cooker came right at the death of it, and Lee Crowther throws it away at the final corner. Andre Elliott will cross the line to take away the podium here, and he'll be pretty happy with that one. Dean Hanley, despite the mistake, it looks like he might just be able to hold on to Dion Clerk here. This battle's been ensuing as well while we've been watching the race lead, and look at him drag race to the start finish line. The gap is closing. The gap is closing, and who's going to get it? Dion Clerk gets it by a tiny margin. 0.04 of a second. Clerk takes that one away from Dean Hanley. What a finish between all these drivers. Connor Mitchell in the Riptide Esports car. He's going to be looking to take home position number 6, just ahead of Fabian Fitness. Fantastic drive, despite being backwards at one point in the race. Sean North also a fantastic recovery drive, and he'll take position number 8. Mason Kurtz in position number 9 keeps the good form rolling. Bill Kosmarakis, unfortunately, is in the P lane, so he won't have actually finished this one here. And Clayton Waters will cross the line in position number 19. Oh my god, what a race, what a finish we've just had. And for Zach O'Reilly, what a way to do it as well. He takes away the win here in race number 1. But what does that mean for himself? He's got to do it from position number 12 in the next one. Do not go anywhere, because My God, I need a drink, and I'm sure all of you do at home need one as well. We'll be right back with race number 2.
Forms and expertise in getting the best gear. Sensational TV has proudly partnered up with Speed Nation. It is New Zealand's go-to destination for high-performance sim gear. They also stock the best and biggest brands in the game, from Thrustmaster, Moser Racing, Next Level Racing, Sparko, Turtle Beach, and more. And whether you're looking for the ultra-responsive racing wheels or pro-grade flight controls, immersive audio, or rock-solid cockpits, I'll tell you what, Speed Nation has got it all. They also carry other trusted names like Butt Kicker, PT Actuators, Wheel Stand Pros, Gen Ace, Spectrum in the remote control field, and also Collective Mind. So every step and part of your setup is covered, from complete racing rigs and premium flight packs. We here at Sensational TV, back in Speed Nation, to deliver the gear that takes your experience to the next level. Fast shipping, trusted brands, unbeatable quality, and I'll tell you what, Speed Nation has it all. And as an excellent gift for all of our viewers tonight and members out there of Sensational TV, and if you're trying to get into racing, go to the checkout, buy some stuff off Speed Nation, because if you buy any full-price product on the website, enter the code SIMSATIONAL, that is SIMSATIONAL. Oh my God, I can't even speak. And you will get a 10% discount off your end cart price. So go in there.
10%? 10% did you say, Zachary?
I did say 10%, mate. I did not say 5. I did not say 4. I said 10.
Wow.
Yes, welcome back. Wow. What a race one we just witnessed. Last lap overtakes, drag races to the start finish line. Last lap overtake at the last corner for the race lead. What more could you want? And in the end, it went to the way of Zach O'Reilly. So let's keep a keen eye on how those two drivers fare when they now have to make their way through the field. And let's see how they go about this one. But it's time to take a look at here the way the grid lines up, because it's a reverse top 12 here. We're still waiting for a couple of drivers to make their way to the grid for this one here tonight. So race number 2, reverse top 12, means Mason Kurtz is on the pole position here, with Sean North alongside. Those two drivers showed fantastic pace in race number 1. We'll be looking to continue that momentum here, and especially with a front row start. Hopefully they can keep going here with a good race. Fabian Fitness will line up in 3rd position, with Connor Mitchell in 4th for this one as well, with Dion Clerk in 5th and Dean Hanley in position number 6. Andre Elliott in position number 7, with Lee Crowther in 8. So it looks like we've had a few retirees from the session because they've all taken to the grid properly, and it looks like it is going to be as is, with now Zach O'Reilly in position number 9, Cos Marakis rounding out your top 10 here, Hayden Wallace in position 11, Jonathan Mitchell in position number 12. An issue on the final lap there for Greg saw him drop down to 13th position. Heath Langley in 14th. Dean Johnson in 15th. Ezra Simons, we saw him in the fence in that one as well, and he's recovered to get himself now into position number 16 starting spot. Luke McCulloch in position number 22. Wesley Harriott in 18th, Clayton Waters in 19th, Hayden Cook in 20th, and Jason McFadden will round out the grid here in position number 21. It was an absolute shocker for himself. We saw him off the circuit multiple times, backwards, and nearly rolling the thing as well. So quite the effort for himself to be able to get those sort of things done, all in the span of only one race. We've got another one coming up here. It's going to be another 25 laps here. Same deal as last time, a compulsory pit stop required for this one too. So plenty of strategy involved, and we saw a lot of drivers start coming in at about the halfway, just over halfway race mark here, and a lot of drivers leaving themselves only 6 or 7 laps for them to try and get the job done with the undercut and the fresh rubber in this one. So this one will be a absolute barnstorm. I can guarantee you that. It is. Race 1 was anything to go by. We're going to be on for this one. Pit window is from lap 1 to 20, so they got plenty of time to get it done as we're getting ready here for race number 2. What is in store for us this time around? And it is going to be lights out, and we're off here at Townsville. And it's a very even start between your top 2. And look at them squirreling around, trying to get the traction down. But here comes Fabian Fitness to make it 3 wide, going down the straight. And there's a little bit of contact, and there is a big issue in the background there. Fitness is going all over the shot, and it's a smoke screen galore going into the next corner, and there's a couple of cars involved, including Lee Crowther involved in that one. Plenty of damage to the front of his car, plenty of people involved, and he continues to get involved up in front. And look at him go now through turn number 3. Sean North in the end takes the lead. Mason Kurtz is in position number 2. Connor Mitchell finds himself in 3rd. Dion Clerk in 4th, and Zach O'Reilly from position number 9 already up into 5th. And what a race start that was. It was a couple of cars trying to show the nose, and maybe where the nose shouldn't have been, and in the end it's ended in catastrophe. And there goes Fabian Fitness as well in the background, so he's got issues in that machine, and so he's just put it into the fence yet again. Dean Hanley trying to make amends for what happened. He's trying to be filthy with himself. He lost out in that position right at the end of that one, and so he's been wanting to make that one get up, and he does get by Connor Mitchell as well. So Mitchell's just lost a heap of positions in this one. Hanley up into 4th position already. Zach O'Reilly around the outside at the final corner to get up into 2nd position, and there is a little bit of damage on the front there of his car as well. So maybe that thing won't be handling as nicely as he would have liked. And for Mitchell, he's just lost another position now to the likes of Andre Elliott as the battling continues now, because Mason Kurtz is looking to try and get himself holding on to this podium position. But Dean Hanley has other words about that. He wants to get himself onto the podium, and he does so. So he's using the reverse grid to great effect as now Elliott continues to make his way through the field, and unfortunately This is something that kind of happens with the reverse grid. Sometimes the faster guys just cream their way through, and that is exactly what O'Reilly has done. It's only taken him to halfway of lap 2, and he's gone from position number 9 to the race lead. What a start for your race 1 winner, and what a finish that was. And it looks like, bar a mistake, he might be in the clear with this one because he's already pulled 1.2 seconds. As now in the background there, we can see Dean Hanley. He's looking to the inside of Sean North. He can't quite get the move done. They'll continue to go side by side between the two of them. And it's going to be Hanley taking that one away. And he is going to get himself now up into position. At number 2 is in the background. Andre Elliott makes another position. He's now gone by Mason Curtis. McFadden pulls into the lane now very early, as that was looks like possibly Greg there in position number 10, getting it super sideways on the exit of that one. As now Elliott looks to get himself now up into 3rd position, and he does so. Sean North looking to try and get himself into the mix as well, but unfortunately that's not the way it goes. Mason Kurtz, though, we saw him in the background there, got himself into the wall and will have a little bit of damage on that Mustang now. He looks to try and defend his position away from Dion Clerk, and he doesn't, he does quite make that one stick, so he will hold on to position number 5. Clerk has to sit back and wait until another overtaking opportunity. And look in the background, because here's Lee Crowther. So he's maintained position despite everything that happened. We saw him have to slam the anchors on to try and avoid that wreck of Fabian Fitness at turn number 1, and he's got the damage on the front of the car as well, so he didn't go through quite unscathed. And unfortunately for himself, he hasn't made quite the progress through the field as the likes of the driver. He only finished 0.3 of a second behind in race number 1, who's leading now by nearly 2.5 seconds. So it is all on here, up and down the field. Mason Kurtz founds the wall once more, and this time we'll lose a position to Dion Clerk. There's plenty of drivers this time around are going for the early pit stop, including Lee Crowther is in the lane, and so too is Greg here as well. So he is looking to try and get himself possibly with an undercut going in this one. But how is the drive already from Zach O'Reilly? Already 2.5 seconds up the road from anyone else, despite his starting position of number 9. So it has been quite the start for himself. Dean Johnson at the moment is all over the back here of Heath Langley, looking to try and get himself up a couple of positions here if he's able to. Currently in a 16th position, and looking at the back of Heath Langley. So this is another little Camaro versus Mustang battle here. So how does this one pan out between the two of them? Because they're all looking very close together. And so too is this battle pack being led by Wesley Harriott at the moment. We can look at the back of his rear wing at the moment. He's got the likes of McCulloch, Simons, and Mitchell all right there behind. And you don't have to look too far to find Langley and Johnson reeling themselves into this one as well. So all up and down the field, plenty of people trying to find their way in. As now Fabian Fitness has also found himself in the pit lane here. So he'll be looking to possibly maybe repair a bit of damage. He was in the fence quite a few times as he was spiraling around kind of helplessly and trying to get himself organized on that one. And look at the different racing lines, especially at just a pretty basic hairpin of turn number 13. Harriet going for a bit of a wider line to try and get onto the power sooner. Harriet looking to go for a bit of something different here, as now McFadden, he's flick spinning the car around, so he's had an incident there possibly with Lee Crowther, who's just gone on by as well. So McFadden down to 19th position, backwards for the first time this race, and is looking to see if he can't get himself to the back of Crowther here, who is now just about to go through turn number 1 after already making his first pit stop. And unfortunately, Fabian Fitness is now listed as a non-finisher here in this one. So it has not gone well there for the likes of Fabian Fitness in his series debut. So he'll have to look to the next one if he's keen and try and get that one sorted and figure out how he's going to go about this one. It's now Connor Mitchell takes the escape road. He's going to have to hand back a ton of positions. Look at them all go battling here. Mason Kurtz once more on the defensive, this time with Hayden Wallace looking to his outside in the Repsol GR Supra. As now Cosmarakis goes for a bit of a spin. There he goes. He's now backwards, and he's going to be looking to try and get himself back around, and he's had to actually take to the grass there on the infield to get that thing flicked around in a safe manner. So he's going to lose it out all the way to position number 16, and he's going to use this opportunity as well to take a pit stop. So it is not going well for himself and for Dean Hanley in position number 2. He's now got the likes of Andre Elliott right behind him. He was only about 0.3 of a second when we joined on, so it looks like Elliott maybe had a bit of a lockup and has lost a ton of time in this battle, because the gap is now extended out to 1 second as the battle continues here between Simons, McCulloch, Mitchell, Langley. It is all going on between the lot of them, and look at this battle pack forming up here. You got the Dare GR Supra sitting at the front of the queue, just behind that Monster Energy Mustang that's now starting to pull away. Now there's a little bit of fresh air in the nose of that car, and McCulloch has now got Mitchell and Langley right behind him, looking to see if they can't take away any ease and pickings. And down the inside goes Mitchell. That's super late on the brakes. He's going to get the move done here. Is he going to be vulnerable to the switchback? The answer is no. We get that one answered pretty quickly, and he just gets the power down. And what a fantastic move that was from Mitchell to get the move done. But McCulloch is not looking to be very happy about that one. He's looking to try and possibly go down the inside of Mitchell. In the end, he's finding himself defending from Heath Langley, who's tucked in right behind a heap of opposite lock, trying to get the power down. Once again, defensive as well. So he's feeling quite vulnerable at the moment. It is McCulloch in that GR Supra, and he's losing pace by going defensive now to the likes of Mitchell right in front of him. So he's already lost, what's that, half a second to a second now into the car in front. So it has not gone very well in the final sector there for Luke McCulloch, and he's going to go once again on the defensive. So he's really feeling vulnerable in the mid corner of this circuit, and he's looking to try and just hold on to everything that he's got. He's currently sitting in position number 13, and for Andre Elliott, he's now caught right up to the back of Dean Handley once again here. So let's keep an eye on this battle, because there is plenty of pace at the moment showing in the hands of Andre, and you can definitely see the pace and the car behavior just going through the train tracks there of Boundary Street as they were heading over the bumps. His car just looked to be way more stable, and he was able to carry what just visually seemed to be a heap more speed than Dean Handley in front of him. So the battle for second and third is well and truly brewing at the moment. So too is the battle between McCulloch and Mitchell. They're continuing to go at it here before Elliott. He is going to be seething on the back here of Dean Handley. Handley looks to go defensive. Elliott tries to throw him the dummy. Doesn't quite get it done. The thing got all taily on the exit there. Does he go for the switchback? Yes, he does. Is he going to get the move completed? They're going to go side by side now, going up into turn number 3. Generally, you can't go side by side through. Here's such a tight section of the circuit. Handley pulls out of it, lets Elliott go on through, and the battle for second and third is going to be on now between these two. Elliott now takes the reins of position number 2. Handley drops into third, and look at him pull away quite quickly as well into doing so. So it looks like Elliott's just at the moment on these super softs got a ton of pace in his machine, and you can see Handley trying to get all the pace out of it, and he's actually spun it. Handley's going around, and he's going to have to flick spin. He's going to lose a couple of positions here. He's lost one to Dion Clerk. That's the second time tonight he's losing it to Clerk, so he's not going to be liking that, seeing that name. There's going to be bringing back a few flashbacks from the war for himself of race number 1, and he'll now lose out, and he's back into position number 4 where he was just before. But Zach O'Reilly is super comfortable at the moment, out in the lead of the race, currently setting purple lap times as now Langley and McCulloch. This battle just does not stop, and what does this do? It brings Clayton Waters and Dean Johnson into the looks of this as well. But look at that, Cosmorakis, who went in for that early pit stop and is gone a lap down, unfortunately, now finds himself trying to use that pace that he's got to get himself back up into a possible opportunity to get a battle going here. He's made his compulsory pit stop. All these guys around him have not made that compulsory pit stop as of yet, so he's going to be wanting to try and get this one done. Sean North has now pulled it into the pit lane for his stop as well, out of position number 14, so that gives Lee Crowther that one as he continues his recovery, and that's very smart driving there from the likes of McCulloch. He's just going to allow Cosmorakis to go on through, because he's not in this battle, but he's got plenty more pace than these guys. It's now Crowther. He is making positions here for actual on-road position. He's now up to 13th. He's just dispatched Dean Johnson there in at the background of the shot, and he's looking to try and to continue using the pace he's got on some good fresh rubber and to get himself further up the field as much as he can, despite being caught up in that drama that we saw in lap number 1 with Fabian Fitness spinning out of control going through that section of corners and pretty much putting on the Call of Duty smoke screen and blocking any vision for the drivers who are trying to navigate their way on through there. But Hayden Wallace has got quite the task set up for himself. He's got a fellow GR Supra in the likes of Connor Mitchell right behind him, and right behind him is Hayden Cook. So a couple of very fast operators nose to tail at the moment and are looking to try and progress further up the field, because they got a bit of time, 1.7 seconds to fight if they want to catch up to Mason Kurtz, who just continues to grow and grow into this series. We saw him get the podium in Darwin, and he's going to continue that form now with a top 10 in race number 1, and at the moment sitting quite comfortably inside your top 5 at the moment of this one. So expect him to try and pull out some blinders in the pit stops and see if he can't close that 5 seconds he's got to Dean Hanley at the moment here. But now for Hayden Wallace, look at the control that is required to keep these cars pointing in the straight line. As I say that, Hayden Cook makes a mare of it and loses a ton of time, and he's going to lose touch now of Connor Mitchell and Hayden Wallace just up the road from him. So that has not gone well at all. Bit of a commentator's curse. I am sorry about that one. As I was saying about the car control of these guys, he throws it into the wall just about. So apologies to Hayden Cook there for that one. But out in front, Zach O'Reilly, just take a look there at the timings. He has got 8 seconds in hand as now Connor Mitchell pulls it into the pit lane. So this is how the track looks. So there goes Zach O'Reilly. This is how big of an air gap he's got, because here comes now Andre Elliott in position number 2. Here comes Dion Clerk now in position number 3 to take this one. So your top 3 is pretty spread out. In fact, let's make that your top 4, because here comes the lap car of Greg, and now here is Dean Hanley in position number 4, the second of the Camaros that just went on through. And now we can have a look here. And there comes your 5th position of Mason Kurtz, and now of Hayden Wallace, Hayden Cook, Wesley Harriott, Heath Langley will be the next one to come around on your screen. And look at that, what a battle pack we've got forming up here. A big cluster of cars, because Cosmarakis is trying to make his way on through, and he's just causing a bit of a mishap at the moment because of doing that, because they're trying to defend, but he's not full position at the moment. Lee Crafter is seeing this right in front, because he can see these two drivers go for the moves. How Langley had the thing all locked up on the rear, and how's that one played out for himself? It looks like he's had to take a corner cut there, because as he exited the shot, the thing was out sideways, rear was locked, and that means 2 very easy overtakes for Lee Crowther, because surely Langley's going to have to readdress that, and it does look like he might be trying to, but he's going to have to be careful, because McCulloch is wanting to take advantage of this one. He does take advantage of that one down the inside on Harrier. Waters is right there as well to take advantage of this one of the 99 Wendy's machine, but he can't get that one done. Langley's out wide, and it's just going off at the moment here in the mid-pack. You got battles for position number 10, and in the background there, that looks like it was possibly Mitchell having a little bit of a mare on the exit and trying to get the power down when the car wasn't quite ready yet to have the full 600 horsepower from underneath the bonnet unleashed to the rear wheels. And he stepped it out sideways, and so does Clayton Waters on cue. He's going to throw it into the wall, and at turn number 2, he's going to flick spin it around, but now that's a loss of a couple of positions, and he's now down to position number 15. Who did benefit from that? That was the likes of McFadden, Mitchell, and the other Mitchell in the likes of Connor there in the GR Supra. So the Mitchell brothers are taking big advantage of that in the Riptide Esports team cars, and getting themselves up to 12th and 13th and 14th on the road at the moment, and looking very good at to get themselves solid points here in this championship as McFadden continues to try and make his way up through the field. As we've got a few more drivers in the pit lane now. Mason Kurtz is in the pit lane. That will promote Hayden Cook now up into that 5th position. Hayden Wallace in his Supra is also now up into position number 7, despite being in the pit lane. So, and Heath Langley is also now just thrown it into the lane as well for that one. So we've got a few cars taking the likes of their pit stops now. Ezra Simons has had an issue at the hairpin, so he's had to flick spin that one around and keep on driving. But for Zach O'Reilly, he's now coming up to the scene of the crime where we just saw Ezra Simons have to do the flick spin. And look how in control he is, and not a little blip at the moment of pressure for himself. He's really showing what he should have done in race number 2, or what he could have done, I should say, in race number 1. He's nearly got 12 seconds over the likes of Andre Elliott at the moment. He's going to have a couple of cars right in front of him now on their cold, fresh rubber at the moment, so he's going to dispatch all these guys pretty quickly. They'll also probably peel off to the side, and there we go on cue, and just allow the race leader to go on through without any issues. And for O'Reilly, he's going to now head into the 2nd sector of this one. And let's just continue riding on board with him and see what a race leader of 12 seconds it does behind the wheel. And because he's not going to be taking it easy, he's going to be taking more of a controlled approach. He's still pushing the car, but he's pushing it within its limits, or when you should be pushing 100%, he's pushing at 99.99 recurring at the moment. So he is well and truly in control of his motor vehicle at the moment. And as we've been on board, it's nearly increased by actually some margin. So something's happened to Andre Elliott. Maybe a bit of a mistake going through this section of corners here, because that gap jumped out by nearly 2 seconds there within the span of a couple of corners. So Elliott's had a little bit of something going on here at the moment as he continues to try and lay down the pace, because he's got a very fast operator of Dion Clerk in right behind him at the moment in that GR Supra. And for Clerk, he's taken away position number 4 from Dean Handley in race number 1, that drag race to the line. And he has also got himself now ahead of Dean Handley once again after making that mistake at the exit of turn number 9. So Clerk is really taking advantage of all of this, as now there's a bit of an issue, and that's a car on its side. McCulloch is going for a rollover. Holy moly, how has that one happened? He's had to take it back to the pit lane, and he's going to have to be well and truly behind, but he is up on his side at turn number 2. We've had a rollover on the streets of Townsville, and he's going to lose a ton of positions here. Clayton Waters has also had an issue. He's coming to a stop here at turn number 13, and so he's letting a few cars go on by, and he's now spun it on the re-entry, and he's now thrown it into the pit lane. So a little bit of everything is kicking off at the moment, and for Sean North, he's going to be loving this, because the drivers in front of him are having the issues, which means he's now up to position number 12. Make that 11, because Wesley Harriet's now in the pit lane, who was just about where Luke McCulloch was when that incident happened. So maybe he could have been involved, or maybe he's got a side of the story to tell in the Discord in the driver's briefing once this one is done. But for Wesley Harry, he's going to fall outside, maybe outside your top 15, depending how quickly his pit stop goes. And there you go, he's inside, he's in the 15th position now, but it looks like Dean Johnson might be maybe a little bit too far back to try and capitalize on this, and he'll hold on to position number 15 as for now. But for Sean North, right on the back of Hayden Wallace now, and there we go, Wesley Harry does in fact fall outside your top 15. Sean North onto the back of Hayden Wallace, and are looking to try and apply the pressure to Wallace and get himself up yet another position here. Can he get himself a double top 10 finish here in this race? He got, just outside the top 10 in race number 1. Can he get himself inside the top 10 here, because he's just about where he finished in race number 1 here in position number 11, chasing Hayden Wallace in the GR Supra. That was very wide from Wallace, extremely wide, and there we go. He didn't have to do too much about it. Sean North has gone on through into position number 10, so very opportunistic and read the play perfectly to get himself that free position now inside of the top 10. And for Sean North, now that was a very well played for himself. A cool mind and collected for himself to get that one completed. And so keep an eye on him to try and catch the likes of Connor Mitchell if possible. But that's going to be a big ask. 9 seconds he has got to car number 32 in position number 9 at the moment. So let's keep an eye on how things are lining up at the moment. Zachary Riley still out in front, leading the way by 15 seconds. He has got now over the likes of Andre Elliott. Elliott in second position, still trying to chase down the likes of O'Reilly, but in doing so, maybe cooking up his tires just a little bit more than what is really necessary at the moment. And for Dion Clerk, really holding on to position number 3 at the moment with grace. And for Dean Handley, he hasn't really been able to recover since he made that spin, that error at turn number 9, and still holds on to that position number 4. Hayden Cook in a position number 5. Lee Crowther, your race 1 second place goer, in a position number 6. Jason McFadden in position number 7. Mason Kurtz in 8th. Connor Mitchell in 9th, and Sean North, we just saw him get by into position number 10 with Hayden Wallace right behind him. Ezra Simons in position number 12. Heath Langley in 13th. Jonathan Mitchell in 14th, Dean Johnson 15th, Luke McCulloch after the rollover, somehow still circulating in position number 16, Greg is in 17th, Cosmarakis is in 18th, Wesley Harrier in 19th, and Clayton Waters, currently the last of the finish, or they're still going around the circuit, in a position number 20 is now Dean Handley pulls it into the pit lane, and it actually looks like Clayton might be coming to a stop once again on the circuit, as now Crowther actually has just got by Hayden Cook here, so there's been a change from position. They'll continue to try and go side by side. A little bit of contact there on the apex of the final corner, and Lee Crowther now up into position number 5 with Hayden Cook right behind. And look at this, for good measure, here comes Dean Handley exiting the pit lane. So how's this going to play out? Because Lee Crowther has already made his pit stop, remember. He took it really early in this one, and so does Dean Handley know He's already made the pit stop. Does he know that's going to be for position? Time will have to tell. But for Hayden Cook, he's also got the likes of Cosmarakis just trying to make his way back up through the field. And he tried to go for the look down the inside of turn number 3. We saw it in the mirrors there. He wasn't able to get it done. He nearly caused an accident there with the likes of Hayden Cook. And look at them still try and flow it through these section of corners. For Dean Handley, he wasn't able to defend the likes of Lee Crowther going on through as he was exiting the pit lane, but he has been able to absolutely do that with the likes of Hayden Cook, as now Dion Clerk and Andre Elliott are both in the pit lane. And so keep an eye on those two drivers where they're going to blend out of this one as well, but they've got a huge margin though to the rest of the field. Cosmarakis in the background of your screen there, you can see he's continuing to try and get it done, and Hayden Cook now peels it into the pit lane, so he is pulling himself out of this battle to get his compulsory pit stop done. Dion Clock is now just exiting the pit lane, and where is the blend? Because there's Lee Crowther in the background. You can see him in the back of shot, so he's going to hold on to position number 3 for the moment. So this has been a brilliant drive for Lee Crowther, get himself now up into position number 4, despite everything that we saw on the opening lap with the dramas. Genuinely thought when I saw the smoke screen start going up, we were going to see a monumental, we was going to be a traffic jam with all of these drivers barreling on into turn number 2. In the end, they were all very, very wise about what was going on, and we didn't see too much drama despite the scenes that we were seeing. And Lee Crowther, just because of all of that and the heads-up driving, despite the slight bit of damage on the front of his car, has been able to get himself now up to position number 4. And for Hayden Wallace, he's had a bit of an incident now at turn number 2, loses the position to Hayden Cook, and now drops down to position number 11 in his Repsol GR Supra. So not being too well for himself, and the pit window has just closed. Zach O'Reilly has gone around for another lap. This is now very interesting because pit window, we saw it on the screen, has closed. And he has not come in for a pit stop as of yet. Will he do it on this lap? We'll have to see if he's going to be able to do it, because everyone else has just about come in for a lap, for a pit stop here. So let's see how this one all plays out, because I'm trying to think about it as well. Has Andre Elliott come into the pit lane as well? I'm trying to remember if he has or hasn't. The gap is 18 seconds, so I don't think he has. I don't think Andre Elliott has come into the pit lane now I think about it. And so is there a possibility that first and second could get themselves a penalty here if they don't pull it into the pit lane at this lap? What is Zach O'Reilly going to do? He's going to go around again. He's going to go around again. What is going on here? O'Reilly is going around again with a pit stop window still, which is now closed, and he hasn't done it. What is Elliott going to do though? Because he has got the opportunity to try and make amends of this. Does he also come to the lane? No, he's going to keep on going as well. What is going on at the moment? Time will have to tell. And it is going to be on between these two, or have I missed the pit stops completely between these guys? Because I'm sure they're much wiser than this to keep going. And thank you, Fabian, in the chat. It looks like they have all actually come in for a pit stop. So thank you very much for your heads-up viewing here. Very, very upsetting to not see they're still competing out there at the moment. But the battling is now continuing here with Lee Crowther and Dion Clerk. So let's keep an eye on this one for this one. And it is going to be on, because Lee Crowther's now got the podium position at the moment. But Dion Clerk is on much fresher rubber compared to Lee Crowther. Crowther, though, is on the super soft. So let's see how this one plays out between the two of them. Because the pace you would think is going to be with Crowther, but he's been on those tires for so long at the moment. Clerk, though, much fresher rubber, and for Crowther, he is going to have quite the defensive drive needed if the tides start to swing with the tire life game of this one. So let's keep an eye on how this one plays out between the lot of them. And for Hayden Cook as well, he's got Hayden Wallace right behind him. So Wallace, who made a bit of an error, is now driven all the way up to the back of Hayden Cook and is looking to try and get himself back inside the top 10, where he's been running for so much of this race so far here tonight. So let's have a look at how this battle plays on out. It's currently half a second between the two of them. Hayden Cook runs a little bit wide and going through turn number 7, and compromises 8 and 9 for him. And so as they head over the tram tracks over turn number 10, the run is with Hayden Wallace. He sends it to the outside, and look at that, he's going to send it all the way around, and he's onto the grass, and so he's not going to be able to get it done. He was a little bit too deep going into the corner. And for Hayden Cook, he's going to live to fight another day and hold on to this 10th position with only 4 laps remaining of this one. Zach O'Reilly currently leading the way with 20 seconds of a gap. How is that between the lot of them? So we have got quite the race on our hands at the moment between a heap of drivers. You've got Hayden Cook trying to hold on to position number 10. You can see him going super defensive. And as this battle continues on, you saw Ezra Simons in the background. He's closing in. He's only some 2 seconds away. And make them go side by side a couple more times. That 2 seconds will just about be nothing with how fast and flying this track is. It's so easy to lose a lot of time between all of these drivers. And for Ezra, he's going to be really watching these two guys up in front. He knows that he's going to be catching. We know he's catching. He's already, since we've rode on board with him, he's 0.3 of a second closer to what he was just before. So Ezra is really looking to try and get himself now inside the top 10. He doesn't have very long though to do it, and he has to be careful as well, because any mistake trying to apply the pressure to these two up in front as they continue to go side by side once again. And Wallace looking to try and get himself around the inside and get himself into an undercut position as Hayden Cook actually tags the wall there on the exit of turn number 12. He's going to go defensive once again in position into turn number 13, and he's going to have a very, very quick Hayden Wallace right behind him into the slipstream. How does this play out for himself? Because look at this, they're going side by side now, going into turn number 1, and it is going to be balls to the wall action here. Ezra Simons is right there as well. He's only 1.5 seconds behind. It's going to take a very small incident to allow him to try and take advantage of this one, so we could very well soon have 3 drivers in amongst this one. They continue to go side by side now into turn number 3. You can't really go side by side through here, and look how compromised they both are, because here comes Ezra Simons. He's well and truly into this one as well now. And down the inside goes Hayden Wallace. He can't get it done. The car gets a bit squirrely. They continue to go side by side. Hayden Cook gives him the door and tries to get him done. Ezra around the outside. Does he get the both of them? No! There's a touch there from Hayden Cook. Ezra goes to the grass and he rejoins just in front of Hayden Cook. And that was epic. It could have been a double overtake there from Ezra Simons. But now he has got the poor run out of it. Hayden Cook looks to the inside. Can't get it done. But Ezra, we said he was right there. And it only took a couple of corners for him to gain 1.5 seconds to get himself into this battle, and now he can put his eyes forward to try and get himself to the back of Hayden Wallace for a top 10 finish here. As now out in front with 2 laps to go, Zach O'Reilly has now gone over 20 seconds of a race lead, dominating this one. Heath Langley's had a bit of a moment at the final corner. There he is. He's lost it at the final corner, position number 14 for himself, but he's got a bit of time up the road and back behind himself as well, so he's going to be safe of losing any sort of positions at the moment for this one. But Hayden Cook is still looking to try and get himself by Ezra Simons, and he's going to look to the inside here at turn number 3, and he can't go well, surely. He backs out of it and gets himself now looking to get himself once more to the back of the Monster Energy Mustang and into another overtaking opportunity. It looks like Ezra has got his hands full and won't be able to try and put an attack now onto Hayden Wallace, who's driven up the road and is pulling away and just solidifying this top 10 position for himself. And he is now bringing in the likes of Jonathan Mitchell into this battle as well. These guys continuing battling, holding each other up. It's now only 1 second to the next car, and behind us now Zach O'Reilly starts the final lap of the race. In fact, I reckon he's just about ready. It's across the start finish line here to take the victory. He's already got the power slide going, and he is ready to take this one here. 21.8 seconds. What a drive for himself as he now crosses the line to make it a clean sweep of Townsville. Zach O'Reilly is your race 1 and 2 winner and your pole sitter as well for good measure. What a drive for himself, and look at the gap that he's got to Andre Elliott, who hasn't even made it to the final corner as of yet, and he's going to cross the line into position number 2, and with Lee Crowther only 5 seconds behind himself. So Crowther was not too far away at all, and in fact, despite everything we saw on the first lap, still manages to get a podium. So fantastic effort for his championship hopes as well. Dion Clerk into position number 4, Dean Handley into position number 5 with McFadden right behind him as well. Mason Kurtz will keep it going with a position number 7. Connor Mitchell is next across the line in 8th, and then it will be Sean North in position number 9. He's going to take a top 10 here. He'll be thrilled with a top 10 for this one, and he will take that and some 11 seconds behind Mitchell, but he's got a healthy 12-second margin over Hayden Wallace, who will, in the end, hold on for that position number 10, take away the top 10 likes from Ezra Simons, who in the end, look at that, he really reeled in Hayden Wallace. So once he was let off the leash from Hayden Cook, he ended up having to start playing defensive to Jonathan Mitchell. And then we've got Greg here. He's going to be the last driver to try and get across the start-finish line. Unfortunately for himself, it wasn't as good of a race 2 as it was race 1. In 19th position for himself at the moment. He's just having a bit of fun at the minute, just trying to get it to the start-finish line. But for Zach O'Reilly, your race winner here, and round winner for Townsville here at the Reed Park Street Circuit. Fantastic racing for himself. And we're going to try and get a few of the drivers in for a bit of a podium interview here. And get them, get their thoughts about this one, because that was fantastic racing for the lot of them. And let's have a chat with them, because it is going to be, yeah, fantastic stuff for all of these drivers. Zach O'Reilly, Andre Elliott, and Lee Crowther, your podium here for this race. So, fantastic racing up and down the field. Townsville did not disappoint at all. And that there, ladies and gentlemen, is a race-winning car. Zach Accelerated driver training, get onto it, or because you could be winning by 20 seconds as well if you do please so. So, let's have a chat here with a driver, because we do have one of them already here waiting for us to have a chat with him. And it is going to be Andre Elliott and Zach O'Reilly already in the combox with us. Gentlemen, how was that? Firstly, congratulations, Zach. Clean sweep of the weekend, pole position, race 1 win, race 2 win in a very dominant fashion. How did that race 1 go? Because that was one of the most exciting finishes I can remember.
Thank you, mate. Was not fun, race 1, to be honest. Got taken out by a blue flagger, which is just fantastic. That person knows who they are, so hopefully they can go and get some educational sessions. But lucky that I got the win in race 1. Full credit to Crowther, because the Birdman was he was flying, and I did not have the measure on him at all in there. It was just pure luck by the end that he washed it wide, unfortunately. But otherwise, car felt good. Race 2 was good. I got caught up in that first straight incident there too, and had a red front wing from there onwards. I clipped someone, I think it was Fabian maybe, in one of the white cars. So yeah, got caught up in that, but found my way through to the front, and that was it, mate.
Yeah, that was a very unfortunate start. It was just a case of 3 wide at the front of the field on cold tyres and everything like that. Just does not go well in a flat-out corner. For Andre Elliott, you got yourself a good P2 there. How was that race for you?
Yeah, mate. Thank you. It was, I don't know, just try to get into a rhythm, and I was following Dino there for a while, chased him down, and forced him into a couple of mistakes, got past, and then I just kind of had to maintain the gap to Dion was behind me at that stage, and try and maintain that gap. But I saw Lee was on a different pit strategy and was closing in at the end, so I was just making sure I made no mistakes, and yeah, just sort of a lonely race really.
Yeah, we saw a lot more delta gaps between drivers in race number 2 than we saw in race 1. I'm putting that more to the incident we saw at the start. And with that incident at the start, Lee Crowther, you went into the pit lane extremely early compared to race 1. Was that due to damage, or was that just to try and get out of the mess and get a bit of clean air?
I was originally going to pit pretty early anyway, probably around lap 5 or 6. But yeah, with having that trouble at the start and being back a bit, I thought try and get some clean air and press on, and yeah, it worked in my favour. Was managed to climb back up the order and had some good battles along the way. It was good fun actually.
Yeah, this circuit was going to be the biggest challenge yet of the season, with the Wolves closer than we ever been. It's technically our second street circuit, but first proper one really, with Albert Park having plenty of runoff. How did you fare with the Wolves being so close? Because that's something we haven't really been doing so far yet, Zach.
Look, they were all right. It was just a matter of obviously knowing where they were for starters. It's pretty hard to sort of miss them, but getting right up close to them was imperative, just to get a good corner entry trajectory, because if you weren't, you were completely off. This track was also weird too. Some of the guys would have found out, but there's a certain section on the track at the exit of turn 2, for example, where there's just so much more grip. as well, which you can feather the throttle on nicely, and also at the final turn as well. So yeah, sticking out of the walls was pretty toasty, and especially when all the incidents happened in front of you got nowhere else to go but to nearly swipe the thing, mate. So yeah, in avoidance, but full credit to the Birdman there, mate. He had me. I was like, he's got to make one error in race one I'm talking about, and I think he made an error into the second last turn, Birdman. I'm not too sure, but yeah, in the end, he raced well tonight, and Doc Elliott fucking fantastic, because the man puts on a show when he sticks it on the road and doesn't bin himself. He's a bloody quick driver as well, so another one to look out for the season for sure.
Yeah, and speaking of the season, this has really bode well for your championship, Lee, because you came into the round, if we don't include any of the drop rounds as of yet, you're only 7 points behind Dean Hanley coming into this round, and with 2 finishes, a second and a third, I think it's pretty easy to say you'll be championship leader by the time we head to the next round, as we head on to the likes of Motormall Raceway in Wanneroo. How do you reckon you're going to go knowing you're championship leader?
Tough track, that one, even though it's a short, quick lap. Anything can happen. It's about as well skinnier than this track, really. But there's plenty of grass, and when you go out on the grass there at Wanneroo, it's very, very icy. So you've got to be careful, got to pick your marks, but it'll be crucial to nail the bowl section at the back of the circuit, because that's where about 60 to 70% of your lap time can be. So a little bit of pressure mounting, obviously, but just want to shout out to Adam Betts as well. He was not too far off me as well in the championship so far, and hasn't turned up to the last 2 rounds. So hope to see him back, so we can get this grid mixed up a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to be great racing, and that's going to be all for this round of the Misfits Sim Racing, brought to you by NMAX Services. So thank you very much for sticking around for this one, gentlemen, and thank you for the interviews as well. It's always great to get the insights to what the drivers were feeling at the end of the round, and thank you very much to all the series sponsors as well: Speed Nation, RD Importing, Simulator Driver Training, Bilco Packins, Accelerated Driver Training as well. So thank you very much for all of this one. And as always, until the next one, keep it flat out.
Sensational TV YouTube channel. Don't fucking miss it.